Handed from three. Hole comes soaring in again. Just uncanny knack. And cashes in.
Is on the upper left wing. Just got inside. Circles around. Pure effort.
Game 3 wasn't basketball. It was daylight robbery. The Indiana Fever had the lead. They had the fight. And then a wave of whistles latched the game away. Suddenly, the Las Vegas Aces were living at the foul line. Ajay Wilson was throwing elbows while Aliyah Boston couldn't even get a fair contest acknowledged. Everyone saw it. Fans inside Gainbridge, fans online, and the box score itself. The Aces didn't beat the Fever, they were gifted that win. Worst of all, the controversy stole the spotlight from Lexie Hull's gritty, career-defining performance. Can the Fever bounce back? If you believe they can,
A'ja Wilson sets a screen where she extends her leg out, but of course they call the foul on Lexie Hull for A'ja Wilson's illegal screen. Then A'ja Wilson and Nalissa Smith totally foul Michaela Timpson, but there is no call. Could have took a 1-point lead going into half. Now we're up by 3 and they call a foul that isn't a foul. So we don't get calls when we're getting hit, but the Aces get a call when nobody touches anybody.
Game 3 was ugly, but let's not act like this was the first time India had to battle 2 opponents at once. From the start of the series, the officiating has leaned on Las Vegas like a crutch, tilting the balance of competition completely off. Everyone saw it in Game 1. The Aces clawed back at the free throw line while Indiana's physical defense was whistled differently. The Fever would stand their ground, body up cleanly, yet somehow those sequences always ended with Vegas at the stripe. That set the tone. By Game 2, the pattern was undeniable, the whistles growing louder, and the...
So why don't you think you were able to find any flow, and when that was the case, what are you trying to do to jumpstart things, maybe on the defense?
Well, it's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul call every 10 seconds. I mean, it just really is. And when they're at the free throw line, we can't get up and down the floor. And that's a challenge. They were much more aggressive and physical defensively, we didn't counter that with our off-ball actions or with our back cuts. So they took us out of our comfort zone. I mean, offense is about rhythm, it's about timing, it's about spacing. We allowed them to do that, and they kept us from doing it.
In Game 2, the whistles piled up quarter after quarter, and what started as small frustrations snowballed into a constant disruption of Indiana's rhythm, enough for Stephanie White to call it out afterward. By Game 3, it wasn't just a pattern anymore. It was a wall the Fever couldn't scale. Breaking point came in the third quarter when Aliyah Boston tried to challenge a foul call on Jackie Young. White signaled for the review, the bench was set, yet the officials refused to even acknowledge it. Moments later, Chelsea Gray drilled a 3, and in an instant, the Gainbridge crowd went from roaring with energy to stunned silence as
A'ja Wilson is 1 for 12 as a foul is called on Boston. And that will be number 2 on Aliyah Boston.
You saw Indiana picking up full court pressure defensively. And if you're Aliyah Boston, that's the one spot on the floor you do not want to get a foul call.
And Stephanie White is trying to challenge it and did not call the timeout in time. Gray in the corner. Connects!
It was not just the swing on the scoreboard, it was the message it sent. The Fever had played well enough to build separation, only to see their effort erased in seconds by whistles and another Vegas bucket. Inside Gainbridge, fans erupted, waving their arms and shouting at officials who seemed unfazed. Almost instantly, clips of the sequence went viral, with breakdowns pointing out how the denied challenge flipped the game in a single possession. Those same videos also exposed a string of flops, cheap shoves, and constant elbows from the Aces in fractions that...
2-minute recap from last night. So A'ja Wilson pushes Howard in the back. Howard pushes her in the back. It's a foul on Howard. Look at this. Aliyah Boston gets totally fouled by Nalissa Smith. Like, it's obvious, but no call. And then A'ja Wilson gets the call for not half as much. And then Nalissa Smith gets the call for not even getting touched. Here's a replay just to prove it to you. Yep, didn't get touched.
That is what makes it feel less like oversight and more like favoritism. A'ja Wilson could lower shoulder into Boston, defenders were knocked to the floor without a whistle, and wild swings of the arms somehow passed as defense, so long as you wore a Vegas jersey. Meanwhile, every ounce of contact from Indiana was treated like a crime.
The momentum on the floor wasn't earned through talent, it was gifted through officiating. with referees wielding their whistles like weapons.
Offensive foul, practically a football check, and the Aces score. So now the Aces cut it to 2, and then Asia Wilson sets an illegal screen, and they tied things up. And then Lexie Hall gets called for a foul for doing nothing when they just had 2 illegal screens they didn't call. All right, so this is fair. Same thing happens on the other side, but they don't call a foul for Kelsey Mitchell. So Leah Boston gets called for this foul for getting her arm grabbed, but Stephanie White can't challenge. They won't let her. That's the second time this game they didn't let her have her challenge. And then Asia Wilson starts acting like a big baby.
And while the officiating could have broken the spirit of a lesser team, one Fever player refused to let Game 3 be defined by bad calls, Lexie Hull. How often does a player who was not even expected to see the floor nearly change the course of an entire playoff series? That's why Hull became the true headline of the night. She wasn't supposed to be out there at all. After aggravating her back in Game 1, she entered Friday listed as questionable, her practice time limited, and her movements looking stiff even in warm-up. Fans didn't expect much. But instead of logging a few token minutes to spell her teammates, Hull delivered a performance that Fever fans will remember long after this series is over.
Boston has the mismatch on Lloyd. Help comes. Kick out. Oh, will fire. And hit from 3. Last 2 positions inside from Indiana. Smith tied up by Hull. And a jump ball between Smith and Hull.
On the left side of the floor, just a clear out, letting Jackie Young go to work.
Jackie Young with 17 points. Boston to the corner. Hull, catch, fire, and hit. Correct call. Evans dishes. Ray whips a pass inside. What a denial from Lexie Hall.
Hull able to save the play.
12-point game, a little under 2.5 to go. Hull hits Indiana's first field goal of the quarter.